forgiveness may be letting go of the anger, but it's not letting go of the accountability. I, the Lord, will forgive whom I will forgive, but of you it is required to forgive all men.
And that's the part we memorized, but the part we didn't memorize was the
very
following
next verses. Him that repenteth not of his sins and confesseth them not, he shall bring before the church. And do with him as the scripture saith unto you, either by revelation or commandment. Well, that's funny, because if you go back to section 42, it says what's supposed to happen to those who commit crimes in the church. And when we say crimes in the church, I'm not talking robbery or theft or murder. I'm talking, and the main crime in the church is damaging the faith and testimony of others, especially God's little ones, which can include children, but also anybody whose faith is weak. And so if you're engaging in behavior that hurts the testimony or the belief system of others, essentially what we were talking about before, contention, if you're engaging in contention, meaning you're pulling somebody away from Jesus, then that needs to be addressed. And that's what section 42, I think it's like verses 72 to 82. It's on the right-hand side of the page. Anyway, but it says, but this ye do, verse 13 of D&C 64, it says, and this ye do that God may be glorified, not because ye forgive not, having not compassion, but that ye may be justified in the eyes of the law, that ye may not offend him who is your lawgiver. In other words, keep people accountable. And if someone's doing something wrong and you just turn a blind eye and go, well, God will take care of it in the future, you're doing a disservice to at least two people. You're doing a disservice to the person who's committing the crime, because you're letting them continue to hurt themselves. But you're also doing a huge disservice to his or her victims, because they're going to continue to hurt and abuse other people. And if you don't stand up and step in and say, hey, what you're doing isn't right, they're going to continue that path.
So basically, if you don't do something, you're actually somewhat responsible for the continued abuse. It is the problem. And that's why God's like, actually, you still have a responsibility to make sure the problem's handled, but you also need to forgive, but you still need to get the problem addressed.
Well, calling out misconduct and stopping it
is not unmerciful.
It's the essence of Christianity, really. Because you love another's enough to stop them from hurting themselves and others. And that's what Jesus did. If you read what Jesus did, that's all he did, was stop people from hurting themselves and from hurting others. And he did it out of love. So this whole idea that forgiveness means to just let it go is a bunch of